when you do your basic training and move into the armed forces, you're effectively being put into a bubble. The longer you spend within that bubble, the less you understand civilian life.
There's more of awareness that they don't just come out one day a year, 2 days a year, put the medals on and take a salute. They're there all year round.
I was noticing a change in my mood, my temper in particular. Things come to a light one day. My son had said something. I stopped the car, ripped him out the car, and I literally wanted to break his neck and not let go. And then something in my head just snapped. And this is not right. I went to see my doctor, but the doctors didn't know what to do. And I actually had a breakdown in the doctor's surgery to be told to pull yourself together.
I find it difficult to believe that the average person that's not been involved in the military would ever understand us.
You can sometimes spot a veteran a mile off, and the family. So you just kind of have a sort of a feeling about them. But once you get chatting to someone else who's a veteran, whether you're male, female, young, old, you just find so many things in common, even just down to the language that you use, you know, and even just down to a look that you'll give something.
There's only so far you can go, or so low. That is the danger. I've been there. I've been there. Walked into the sea. Yeah, then kicked myself and said, what the hell are you doing, mate? Get out. I've done it, so I know what it feels like. Doesn't matter how big you are, how strong you are, it gets the biggest, and they fall the hardest.
Well, I've been out since late 70s, and there's still aspects of civilian life that I still can't get my head around and grasp. The depression was mainly caused by my own doing, letting things build up and not asking for help early enough. I look forward to Fridays and at the moment Tuesdays. I know that we're going to come down and we're going to end up having a chat with people.
I was almost myself, sleeping in my car, borrowing a friend's caravan. In the meantime, I went down to MCVC, met up with Christine and a few others, got chatting, never looked back. That's what MCVC's done for me. It's made me realise that other people out there now need help.
If I'd not have found MCVC, I was starting to get to a point where drink was tempting. And I'd already been told if I did go back to drink, within 6 months it'd be game over. But it will get into a point where something needed to change, and MCVC came along at perfect time.
The most amazing thing about it is everybody you talk to are so willing to help.
So I never toured. I never went anywhere special. I never saved any lives. I never did anything heroic. But for me, there's people that did that we don't talk about. And I think we should talk about them.
The general conception of the public is that all servicemen and women are damaged when they leave the forces. They're not. It's a small minority who've got issues. And providing that's brought to the attention, that can be dealt with. It's these individuals, that small minority, who are pushed into a corner, forgotten about, they become vulnerable, they become isolated, and there are no one.
Hidden Faces is basically to go out into the community and seek out veterans and family members that have been isolated, that are lonely, that are vulnerable. It's almost reaching out to the individuals who society's forgotten. Loneliness is an awful, awful disease, and it's trying to break down those barriers.
We're then now dealing with more vulnerable and isolated veterans, and with that brings its own challenges. We're putting on more events through the Hidden Faces project, and that has then extended our reach to the point where we're now dealing with upwards of 50 to 60 veterans, some with complex needs. They very rarely come with a one-off issue, and what you tend to find with veterans is because they are taught during basic training that you don't ask for help, asking for help is a failure, they're always at that cliff edge before they approach you.
What we are good at is listening, and we can, take someone into a corner, cup of tea, and they could come into MCVC on a Friday with a whole raft of issues. Sit them down in a corner with a like-minded individual, cup of tea, cup of coffee, listening to them, that's probably all they require. That's one of the qualities of MCVC. We've got a lot of people out there who think they've got nothing to have or nothing to add, but they have, because they can sit with that individual and just listen.
All of our volunteers are veterans, and they go out and just talk to individuals. They're curious about what the project is, so they come over and talk to us, and that's sort of the hook. Word of mouth is another thing. People are hearing what we do and that we support family members. Hidden Faces is what the MCVC does anyway. It's what it was set up to do. The funding from the Armed Forces Covenant Trust has allowed a salaried person to come in and actually put some momentum behind that.
What they present with usually is, it starts off a lot of the time as a financial issue or a housing issue, but behind that there is always a bigger story. What you tend to find is it's very rarely just one. We even have drug dependency issues, alcohol issues, and usually one leads to another, and before you know it, you end up with a complex needs case that needs a lot of intense work.
There is still a need out there. We are still finding veterans. It's all ages, and it's trying to quash the myth that a veteran is just, is that stereotypical male, 80s or 90s now, chest full of medals, you only see them on Remembrance Sunday. That's not what it's about.
Hidden Faces has just been an amazing project. I think if we could replicate this on a regional or even a national level, a lot of the problems that the veterans are put through, eventually a lot of the time, luckily they do get help, but a lot of them are put through a lot of mental health stress getting to that point. If we could replicate this scheme countrywide, I think the chances are that it would cut the suicide rate within veterans, and it would also engage a lot more veterans and keep them out of unhealthy conditions. They'd be a lot less vulnerable, they'd be a lot less isolated, and in the long run it would actually save the government money.
You get that feeling that you belong somewhere, that you're a part of something. It's invaluable. It has saved people's lives, being part of a community.
All we want is for people to be aware that MCVC is here to assist veterans and their families in a time of need. And fingers crossed, MCVC will be around for a few more years yet. The barge trip, just sitting on the barge on the river, very therapeutic. I think it's, you know, it's the stillness of the water as well.
Like yesterday, it was very calm and peaceful. We had a nice sort of trip on this boat. De-stress. You couldn't help but just relax.
Oh, it's just fantastic. I did the barge trip on Tuesday, actually. Things like that are brilliant. Yes, they're a bonus. They are a bonus. But to get everybody out and talk, and that's what it's all about, just by talking, you can solve a lot of problems. You can stop them problems snowballing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger just by a simple 5-minute conversation.
You can lose yourself in what you're doing, and you go out for a day, you come home and you feel like you've let a lot go. It's just 2 hours of peacefulness. You're doing no mile an hour next to nothing. Yeah, I personally think it's something, I believe it's water. So just being around the water and inside nature, it just takes my mind off things completely.
Tell us that Johnny Mercer was at Holford Heroes the other day.
I was diagnosed with bladder cancer 3.5 years ago, and I went into a very, very dark place. Visit from a member of MCVC who came round with his wife. Ali put the bruise on. Well, I can't have got no milk. His wife went down to the shop. And through that conversation, he turned around and said, well, I can't make coffee, I can't make tea. Why not? I've got none. Why not? And that's when I broke down and opened. And from that moment on, MCVC got me to the hospital, they got me to Macmillan, they got me involved with the Royal British Legion. And the support I've had over the last 3 years, and for this to be my first day back in 3 years, it's fantastic to see new faces. It's fantastic to see all the old boys and girls. It's all about getting together. It's all about supporting each other, because we never know what's behind closed doors. I'll always be grateful to MCVC, because if it wasn't for them, I honestly wouldn't be here, because I went into a dark hole. The first 3 weeks, I paid for my funeral, I got my will done, I got everything done. And now, 3 years later, I'm still here and living my life as best as I possibly can.
I was caring for my aunt who was terminally ill, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I was just keeping occupied while she slept at the side of me, and I just felt really lonely. I felt a bit, although you can be around people, a lot of people, you can still feel lonely, if that makes sense. And I was just scrolling, I think. I just came across it. I had a friend called Barry Pinchers who was part of it. But I didn't really think it was for people like me because of how young I am and that I am still employed, and you know, I thought it was more for Second World War veterans and people who were retired. But when I came along, I was just made to feel so welcome, and realised that it's not just, you know, it's for all ages. I'm 42 and Nan's 93, so that just proves the range of people it attracts.
My sister-in-law contacted Blesma, albeit it wasn't quite the right association for me because I've still got limbs and I'm not an amputee. They contacted me and said there are other associations. So I looked up online, and lo and behold, there was this one in Rotherham called MCVC. I sent an email. I got a reply back pretty much straight away, and I came down. So we came up with this dastardly plan that we would try. I told I've got nothing to hide. I told him, I was left with a load of debts, no house. Thankfully, I've got a Motability car, which has been I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. So I am now, because of all the work, hard work that these people have done, I've got a placement in one of Johnny Johnson's veterans' houses in Eastleigh. To which, life is looking much, much better. My last port of call is here.
I was living with my ex-partner who had multiple health issues. Apart from going to hospital appointments, he'd lost contact with his sort of military friends, or and so what I did, I just Googled military organisations locally, and it just happened to throw up the Rotherham MCVC, and I noticed it was like 5 minutes from the house. And I went down on my own one day and met some really nice people, gave me a cup of tea and, and said, bring him down. So, started to bring him when he could manage it, when he was well enough to manage it. And we just started feeling part of the group, really. You can just walk in and, first thing you get is a hug from Christine, even if she's never met you before. You met by this big hug. Right, come on, what do you want? That's what's nice about it. You can walk in and it's just a super friendly place. And over the years, I've seen people come together more rather than sit in their little groups and the little pockets. Although they still kind of do that, it's much more collaborate. This would be a good place for people who feel like they're just doing everything on their own to come here and find out that they're not on their own. There's people that have been through similar situations. There's people that can signpost them, guide them, or people just, if you just want to sound off, you just want to have a moan, you can have a moan here and no one will judge you for it. And probably people will just moan with you,
I was referred to a gym for my condition because it was said that the treatment and the cancer would affect my physical strength. And I met a lady there was a veteran, and we discussed one of the things. She said, "Oh, I suppose that I'm a veteran." And I said, "Yes, you're a veteran." I said, "Yeah, but it is 1972 when I left." She said, "You ought to go to the drop-in." Because he'd been so used to this self-imposed restriction, I thought, I don't know, I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, out of curiosity, I came here. Unfortunately, the lady wasn't there, so I felt like a new boy at school, you see. So I stood there like shifting from one foot to the other, thinking what to do now. Anyway, I took it, and I went and sat with some of the lads. And took some ribbing, as it normally happens. Most of the guys I sat with from the artillery, and I said I was from the Ordnance Corps, and they went, "Oh." But I said I was in the artillery originally. "Oh, well, that's all right then, The National Health Service did a great job in terms of medical requirements, but MCVC, they provide this sort of social therapy.
for about 4 months, I didn't leave bedroom, I didn't talk to anybody, just completely turned into a hermit basically. My mum's a school teacher, and it just came out in a conversation over lunch one day at my mum's school. A friend had heard about MCVC. My mum showed me it, and I made her a promise that I'd come down to a Friday drop-in, which I did do. I walked in, and not gonna lie, my first thought was to walk straight back out at the door. When I walked in, everyone was sat in own little groups and stuff, and I was thinking, oh, it's clicky here and this, that and other. But I got invited over by a lovely lady called Emma. She invited me over, sat me down, made me a drink, introduced me to Ian Jones. It just went from there, really. I kept coming every Friday, and then I started getting to know Christine more and Ian more, and it got on and on and on with the council. They weren't offering me anywhere or doing anything. So Ian wrote a referral into Rotherham Housing along with Christine, and they managed to put me through, which was the first I knew of Hidden Faces. After about 3 months of being with MCVC, I'd been offered a flat in Johnny Johnson Housing because of my impairments at the time, and along with having other veterans from MCVC living there as well, they deemed it a good place for me to go. And on the 4th of April last year, I signed my first ever sole tenancy agreement, and it's just gone from there, really, strength to strength.
I think the Hidden Faces project in particular, just reaching out to the people of South Yorkshire, is really important, because I think there are so many people just sitting there at home or lonely, not feeling like they've got anyone to talk to. And like I said, this place, it offers that space where people can just come along, and it's a place where you've got that association with someone. There is someone who can be a friend, and you don't have to go at it alone.
A charity like this at grassroots level, just offering camaraderie, occasional day out, yet wanting to raise awareness and move forward. We're the ones that need it.
Places like this, they just have to exist, because it's a safe place that we can come, and we can talk about things that people in civilian life just don't understand. Sometimes it's just having that sense of belonging again and feeling like you're part of something.
It's all to do with veterans supporting veterans supporting veterans' families. Even when a veteran passes away, they're still the wife of the veteran, they're still the kids of the vet. They still need support, they still need love, they still need that humour, because that's what we do.
One of the best forms of therapy that you could possibly get is being with like-minded people that understand you, understand your sense of humour, and you can use that humour.
Anybody who did any service should be looking to join a veterans group. It brings back the banter and the camaraderie that they'd have before. It's fun to listen to stories, and it's fun to tell yours, and people actually sit there and listen.
If you're a veteran, the biggest step is walking through the door. Once you've walked through the door, you will be made welcome. You'll have a cup of tea or coffee put in your hand. The rest is up to you. It's what you want from it.
I'm part of this thing, and there's always something going off. I'm never lonely, whereas I was before. Because even if you're not in their physical company, your phone is buzzing, you know. And it's such like I said, it's like a social therapy, it is, honestly. You couldn't put a price on it. I enjoy every aspect of it.
I look forward to going on events, I look forward to going out fundraising. I've met people here that I wouldn't have thought would have even stopped and spoke to me. And the banter and camaraderie that gets chucked about, it's something I've been looking for years, and I found it.
Ultimately, it's just getting everybody together, and it's getting everybody. I think it's great because she puts the trips on and then you have something to look forward to, and then you go on the day and you have fun and it's lovely, and then that becomes a memory. So then even when you've been on that trip, it's something that you can reflect on. It stops the loneliness, it stops the isolation, it massively puts the camaraderie into it. And for me, we are a family. That's the only way I can describe. We're not associates, we're not a group. We are a military family, and that's what I love.
Yes, mate.
I don't know where you came from, but this road is yours to trail, made to mold into a song that's sung before your day. So you found the beat, the melody, the words to lift your soul. You were made with love, you were made with love, you were made with love for this world. Silence speaks under our feet, the roots signal across the land. Oh, these cosmic plans vibrate, sending souls for helping hands. So you sow the seed and let it breathe until it found its roots. You were made with love, you were made with love, you were made with love for this world. Sometimes the world will move you, push pull, there ain't no choosing. You were born to the lights of returning. Sometimes your mind unravels, goes round in circles, travels. Your home is the heart, all is well. Oh, your home is the heart, all is well. Your home is the heart, all is well. You were made with love, you were made with love, you were made with love for this world. You were made with love, you were made with love, you were made with love for this world. You were made with love for this world.
That's the thing which gets you the most. People do care.
We're no special, we're just veterans.